All right, so about a month ago, maybe even longer, I finally got a record I've been wanting to get. This came out in 2020. Back then, I didn't have a record player, but in the last couple of months, I purchased one of those Crosley suitcase record players. Yeah, I know they're not the best kind of record players, but hey, it gets the job done, and I'm enjoying it. So I found this album, Alice Cooper, live at the Apollo Theater in Glasgow. This is February 19th, 1982. Again, this was a limited edition. Um, this is like I think they only made like 7,000 copies. But so this came out. This is like during Alice Cooper's, I guess they call it the blackout era, and it means like he doesn't remember recording albums during this period or going on tour. He was back to drinking alcohol a lot, and then he started doing cocaine. So that really kind of warped his mind, I guess. But it was also an interesting period in his career, going into 1980 and with Flush the Fashion. Alice kind of abandoned the classic Alice Cooper persona and his look. We're talking about those what he's famous for, with the black makeup and the theatrics and the horror aspects of the show. And with the new decade, when 1980 came along, it was kind of stripped down. He didn't wear that kind of make outfit anymore. When in the concert, he would have his hair up in a bun. So he was just definitely changing. Not going, trying to, I guess, in his way, adapt to the new wave music. And a lot of musicians at the time, the rock bands from the '70s going into the new decade, there were like records weren't selling. For example, Kiss. You look at early '80s Kiss. A lot of their stuff wasn't selling. That they would, they had to like make a change, and that's when they took the makeup off. And to do that for the Look It Up album. But Alice was the same way. You gotta look back then. Like how to the only way you didn't have MTV back. It was before MTV really. MTV didn't launch until like '82, but like it was you had to get your stuff your music on the radio, and a lot of times they wouldn't you had to adapt to what was going on in the music industry at that time. So I'm always curious of why Alice changed. I don't think there was he doesn't really talk much about that era, but I'm always curious why he decided to go in that direction. So this came out. So this is the tour, the Special Forces tour, the support of of course the Special Forces album, which is this album right here, the back cover. It's the Special Forces tour, but he doesn't sing. He only sings about two songs from that album. Who Do You Think We Are? And 7 and 7 Is. And 7 and 7 Is was only played, I think, briefly in the United States tour, and then he took it out. And then I think when he went overseas, it was put back into the set list. So we got here. This is the cover right here. I always love the logo for Special Forces. And here's the track listings. We'll go through the track listings. Nothing fancy when it comes to the record itself. They're in these black sleeves. I kind of wish that they would have, So this is what the record kind of like looks like. It's two records. I wish that they would have at least had maybe pictures of the concert or something during that period, because it looks really, it's like almost like it was like kind of like thrown together. No real pictures. I know it wasn't the best time in Alice's career, but there's pictures of that concert. I think there's more about the Special Forces concert than there are about the one that came before Flush the Fashion. There's like even like on YouTube you can actually see there's actually a concert that you can watch of Special Forces. I think I think this was a pretty good concert. The set list is pretty good. Being an Alice Cooper fan, during that time period, you got a lot of some of the newer songs, and you got something like newer song carryovers from the Flush the Fashion album and tour are in this set list, and you get some of the classic songs during that time period. With an Alice Cooper show, even today when you go to an Alice Cooper show, you're always gonna have those solid, like I think like top 5 songs. You're gonna have, of course, School's Out. You're gonna have 18. Norman Mr. Nice Guy, Under My Wheels, um, Billion Dollar Babies, uh, and then put one more like Only Women Bleed is she's usually always on the set in the set list. So this is again 1982. This is a kind of an interesting show because this was kind of like this was Alice's last tour for 4 years. He would like go away from the music industry for 4 years as he healed up and stuff. And then when he came back in 1986 with Constrictor and the Nightmare Returns tour, he was back to his classic Alice Cooper 70s look. And he's never like turned that. He's been that way for the last like 40 years or close to that. He has not like like went away from that look. He's back to that. But back then, exploring new things. So he starts off with "Who Do You Think We Are?" I love that song. So you get a lot of songs that have never been played, like don't normally been played, live. Especially now, like in a lot of these songs. "Who Do You Think We Are?" I love that song. It's one of my favorite Alice Cooper songs. I love the live version of it. And I think the last time he played it live was the Eyes of Alice Cooper tour in 2004, and I was there when I went. That was one of the shows I went to, and I just loved that song live, and I was so excited that he sang that song at that show. It was great. And then we go to Model Citizen. That was from Flush to Fashion. That has never been played since this tour, and that's a shame. It's a really good song. And then what I like about this album is he's playing some songs from 76 to 82, or 76 to 81, because now when you go to some of his shows, I mean, people can say like from 1976 to 1983, he doesn't really play many songs from that time period. But we got "Go to Hell" and "Guilty" from really good songs. And then that's side A. Side B, you got "I'm 18," Cold Ethel, "Only Women Bleed," Norman Mr. Nice Guy, and "Clones." So you're getting a lot of clones with some Flush to Fashion. Side C is "Under My Wheels," "I Never Cry," "7 and 7 Is," "Grim Facts," and "Pain." And then side D is "Billion Dollar Babies," "Generation Landslide," and "School's Out." So there's a really good set list. My biggest complaint about the set list is probably "School's Out," and the only reason that I know that that's like in every Alice Cooper, that's like he ends with "School's Out," and that this was kind of the encore. But with this version, what he was doing at the time period, usually I guess even when with from the Inside tour, the Madhouse Rock tour, and this one, and Flush to Fashion, and then this one, he made he would introduce the band during "School's Out," and the band would do kind of play some of their instruments and stuff, and they just extended the song, so the song went on for maybe a good 10 minutes. So that's just, that's my only gripe. I think they could have added another song if they really wanted to. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. If you're an Alice Cooper fan, and I definitely think you should get this into your collection and listen to it that time period. I think Alice's voice is pretty good. I think it's a lot better than his. I think he sounded a lot better than he did on the from the Inside album, the Madhouse Rock tour, or the Strange Case of Alice Cooper if you got the DVD. So definitely check this out if you're able to find it. I think it might be on Amazon, but I think it's a really good live album.